So Volvo is saying goodbye to station wagons, at least in the US, so if you want to get one, well, now it's your last chance. In this video, we're going to cover their flagship V90 Cross Country, talk about what this thing is from a technical standpoint, the interior space, and obviously what it's like to drive it. Now, to give you a better understanding what this thing is exactly, let's take a trip down memory lane and go back to 1997 when Volvo did something that not many people expected. They took their flagship, at the time V70, put some plastic cladding on it, raised the ground clearance, gave it an all-wheel drive system, and called it Cross Country. The rest is basically history. The Cross Country model stole hearts of many, especially for people who didn't want SUVs but wanted something practical, and the V90 that we have today follows the same formula. They took their flagship estate, raised the suspension, added the cladding around the wheel arches, and slapped some extra underbody protection. Everything else is basically standard Volvo. This thing sits on the Splat platform, which uses a double wishbone suspension up front and a multilink setup in the back, combined in most cases with a leaf spring. As an option, you could get adaptive dampers and air springs on the rear axle, but those are mainly for leveling the car when you have extra weight or the car is loaded down. You cannot actually raise or lower the ride height on demand, unlike in something like an Audi A6 all-road. But 8.3 inches of ground clearance is already enough. As of engines, we had a couple of options over the years, but recently it was only a 295 horsepower mild hybrid called V6. That's a 2-liter turbo 4 paired with an 8-speed automatic and of course Haldex-based all-wheel drive system. Now the sad part is that you can no longer place orders for the V90 Cross Country as the production ended in September of 2025, and as of February 2026 I found only a couple of brand new models sitting in dealer slots for around $75,000. Used prices vary from $15,000 to around $60,000, obviously depending on mileage and year. If you're considering a used model, just know that there was a facelift in 2021 which slightly changed the styling but didn't introduce anything groundbreaking. Now, before we talk what it's like to drive this thing, let's take a look inside and talk about the interior space. Okay, so we're inside the V90 Cross Country. Now, if you were hoping for big changes after being on the market for over 10 years, I'm sorry to bring this to you, but there weren't really any. And I'm cool with that. You know why? Because it's one of the best executed interiors in car industry. And I'm talking about the design, the attention to detail, and overall fit and finish. We have a mix of different high quality materials all around. Leather, soft plastics, aluminum or wood, and everything is very well put together. I mean, to this day, this is one of the best, if not the best cabins in a segment of mid-sized cars, especially looking at what BMW or Audi are doing. Now, one thing that I really appreciate that hasn't changed is the infotainment system. Unlike the new XC60 or the XC90, we still have an older generation smaller screen, which is nicely integrated into the dash. Now, for 2026 model year Volvos, their cars received an updated interface and it's okay. I like it. It's logical, quick, and pretty stable. It uses an Android-based operating system with over-the-air updates, it has built-in Google Maps as a native navigation, and you can also download other apps like YouTube or ways to expand the library of your apps. So you don't really need to use your phone projection, but if you want, you have to plug it in because there's no wireless projection. Now, the overall usability of this cabin is okay, not groundbreaking as with most luxury cars, but we have an okay storage in the center console and under the armrest. The door pockets are of a decent size, but the V90 wins when it comes to the cargo area. I mean, just look at it. That's why you get a wagon. The backseat shouldn't disappoint you either. It offers plenty of space, so 2 full-size adults or child seats should have no issues fitting back there. Plus, we get climate vents in the middle, climate vents and B-pillars, a couple of USB-C charging ports, sunshades, so everything you need for both adults and kids. Now, moving up front, the front seats, something that has been Volvo's highlight for decades. They offer superior comfort and wide range of adjustments, and as an owner of second-gen XC60, I can assure you, you can drive this car for hours non-stop and not experience any pain or fatigue. In this Ultra trim that we're testing, they're wrapped in a nice Nappa leather, and they're also heated and cooled, have a pretty effective massage function with multiple programs, so that will also ease your drive. Lastly, I cannot forget about the Bowers-Wilkins sound system. It was a highlight a decade ago when it first came out in Volvo models, and it still is, delivering an unbelievable sound quality and offering multiple DSP modes. Now, the question is, how did the V90 age after all those years? Does it still drive okay? Well, let's head into our favorite backward now and check it out. Okay, so we're behind the wheel of the Volvo V90 Cross Country. Now, the biggest question you might have is, how does the V90 Cross Country drive? Is it more like an SUV, or does it feel like a typical station wagon? Well, don't worry, I'll get you covered. I'll answer this question in a minute. First, let's talk about the powertrain. We have 295 horsepower on board. It's the B6 unit, and honestly, that's all you need in this car. The power delivery is very smooth. If you drove older generation Volvo's T6 models, you might remember that there was some inconsistency in power delivery. The engine was super and turbocharged. There was just too much complexity. This is far better. The power delivery is super smooth. There isn't much NVH coming from this engine. You can be at idle and you cannot even tell that the engine's working. Volvo really did a good job isolating this engine, any noise, vibration, and harshness, and it's a super smooth unit. It also sounds pretty good for a 4-cylinder. Obviously, nothing's gonna replace Volvo's legendary inline 5s, but it's pretty nice, warm tune, and if you compare it to something like Lexus's 4-cylinders, well, this is miles ahead. The 8-speed automatic transmission that we have on board is pretty okay, not insanely fast, but it shifts good smoothly. It's always in the right gear and works well with this engine. We have plenty of low end torque, and transmission knows that it can utilize it, so it's not gonna unnecessarily downshift. Everything is great. Now, the chassis is, for the most part, well dialed in. It is an Volvo, so it's not gonna be a super fun vehicle to drive. There's a noticeable lean and body roll. The steering doesn't provide us any feedback, and it's rather slow, but what you'll appreciate about this thing is how comfortable it is on a daily basis. For the most part, it absorbs any road imperfections very well, but it still struggles, just like every Volvo on this platform, with those small, sharp bumps, high frequency imperfections. There is a noticeable vibration that gets transmitted into the cabin, and it can get annoying. It's not something that disqualifies this car. It's still a very well isolated vehicle, but Volvo has struggled with this for a very long time, and you would think that after 12 years since this platform has debuted, they would change the damper design, spring rates, things like that. Sadly, nothing has happened. The only remedy is getting a Polestar model with all-ins dampers. So if you get the V60 Polestar, S60 Polestar, or an XC60, those cars do not struggle with ride quality whatsoever. Once you properly tune the dampers, the ride quality is going to be really good. The car is going to absorb any road imperfections very well. Unfortunately, not the case with the V90 Cross Country. Obviously, there's no Polestar model, but I wish Volvo changed something different, because it applies to both models with regular passive dampers and cars that have adaptive dampers on it. Our tester doesn't have adaptive dampers, but there's just a little bit of bad taste left in my mouth. But besides that, you'll love everything about it. It feels like a car. You have a lower driving position and still decent visibility. You have lots of storage in here when it comes to cargo area. You drop the seats and it will just blow your mind how much stuff you can put in it. The cabin is very well isolated, super quiet. We have active noise cancellation, laminated side windows, and you can do very high speeds in very quiet conditions. So there are a couple of things that Volvo still has to dial in. Obviously, I highly doubt that's going to happen, especially since 2026 model year is the last one for the V90 Cross Country. And I'm looking forward to see what they're gonna do next. I know for now they announced that they're moving away from wagons in the US, but come on, that's their bread and butter. That's something that has defined that brand for years. So I have a feeling that something will come. Might be fully electric, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but if they had an interesting plug-in hybrid, I would be all for it. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Volvo, we really want a wagon. Can be a cross country, can be a regular one, but please, some sort of wagon, because they're just awesome. So yeah, for now, if you really want that this generation Volvo station wagon, go to the dealership and see if they have anything available. Like I said in the intro, there's still a couple of units left as of February 2026, and you can find a decent amount of certified pre-owned cars or just pre-owned. Make sure to get an extensible warranty because it's a new car. There is lots of complication when it comes to powertrain, all the electronics. So to have that peace of mind, I think you spend $5,000–6,000 on an extended warranty and it will pay itself off. Now, none of those cars are unreliable. I have an XC60 second generation. I've had it for 5 years, put around 60,000 miles on it, and believe it or not, it has been trouble-free. The only annoyances that I have is brakes. They wear prematurely, and that's also one thing that Volvo hasn't changed throughout the life cycle of this platform. They should have pad and rotor design. For a while, they're gonna replace them under warranty, and then you're left on your own. Sometimes 10–12,000 miles, you have to do all 4 brakes. So just a design flaw, but everything else has been trouble-free. The engine, transmission, so I'm happy with it. And the V90 is an interesting successor to my XC60. So with that, let's head into the final thoughts and summarize it. Okay, so let's sum up the Volvo V90 Cross Country. It's a car that you buy when you don't have to prove anything to anybody, and it's one of those, if you know, you know. It offers high levels of comfort, pretty good powertrain for a 4-cylinder engine, and basically SUV-like levels of practicality or usability. Now, it may not have a wow factor of a Mercedes E-Class all-terrain or an Audi A6 all-road, but Volvo knows that their audience doesn't look for a tech-focused car. They value practicality, good saddle design, high comfort, and that's exactly what the V90 Cross Country offers. And if that's what you value and want something rare, definitely check it out because there aren't that many V90s left on dealer lots, and I have a feeling that not only will you like it once you drive it, but also you might be able to get a pretty attractive deal. Anyways, if you guys have any questions about this thing, drop a comment and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.